From stealing 24,000 Rand in December 2004 to orchestrating a 500 million Rand embezzlement scheme, Hildegard Stanum has secured her place as one of South Africa's most infamous fraudsters. But how did this trusted accountant and seemingly ordinary mother next door manage to deceive both the South African Revenue Service, SARS, and a global corporation for over a decade? Welcome back to Knowledge Through Times. In today's episode, we uncover the shocking story of Hildegard Stanum and her role in one of the largest financial frauds in South African history. It all began in the early 2000s, when Medtronic Africa, a subsidiary of the multinational corporation Medtronic International, was expanding its operations across the continent. The company, responsible for importing and distributing medical devices in South Africa, had quickly established a strong foothold in the market. In 2004, they hired a 31-year-old junior bookkeeper named Hildegard Stanum. Hilda appeared to be a diligent professional, handling the company's tax affairs with precision. But her dark intentions surfaced early in her employment. Within 6 months, she discovered a flaw in the company's VAT claiming and reporting procedures. She saw an opportunity to exploit this weakness and began siphoning funds through fraudulent VAT claims. Hilda's job involved processing VAT claims for Medtronic Africa, a company that imported large quantities of medical equipment and was entitled to claim back VAT on these imports. Hilda manipulated this process by secretly listing herself, and later her husband, as a beneficiary on Medtronic's bank accounts. Instead of transferring funds to SARS or clearing agents, she diverted millions into her personal accounts. This raises an important question. How was one individual able to manipulate such a crucial process for over a decade? The truth is, there were checks and balances in place, and those safeguards eventually exposed her scheme. The original system required Medtronic Africa to receive monthly VAT amounts from clearing agents, which would then be paid manually via online banking. These payments needed authorization from 2 other employees using tokens. Hilda orchestrated the scheme so the payments appeared to be going to clearing agents, or SARS, when, in reality, the money was being funneled into her personal accounts. In 2016, a finance manager discovered that Hilda had retained authorization tokens belonging to former employees. This suspicious behavior was flagged and led to an investigation. It revealed 70 large transactions linked directly to Hilda and her husband's bank accounts. This discovery blew the lid off a fraud that had spanned 13 years, amounting to a staggering 537 million Rand. As investigations unfolded, a deeper look into Hilda's bank statements revealed a lavish lifestyle. She had purchased luxury homes, foreign cars, designer goods, and indulged in extravagant vacations. She spent over 30 million Rand on international trips, with frequent visits to Dubai. Her gambling habits were equally excessive, with over 65 million Rand spent in casinos, including a single-day expenditure of 5 million Rand. In late 2016, just months after her fraudulent activities came to light, Hilda turned herself in to the police. She was granted bail of 250,000 Rand under strict conditions, which included a ban on selling or moving any of her assets, as they were placed under curatorship. By December 2017, the consequences of her crimes became apparent. The hawks swooped in to seize the proceeds of her fraud. Authorities confiscated 11 luxury vehicles, including 3 Range Rovers, a Porsche, and several motorcycles, along with 6 properties, high-end furniture, and jewelry worth over 12 million Rand. By the time Hilda faced trial, her first husband had passed away, and she was arrested alongside her second husband, Dion Pieterse, and her son, Janus Stanum. Charges against her son were eventually dropped, leaving her to stand trial alone. During her 5-year wait for sentencing, Hilda illegally sold a property in an attempt to fund her lifestyle. Despite the mounting evidence against her, she tried to shift the blame onto her late husband, claiming he had coerced her into committing the fraud. The court, however, saw through her lies. The judge dismissed her claims of being a victim and found her guilty of 336 charges, describing her actions as calculated and methodical. Unlike many white-collar criminals who receive lenient sentences, Hilda's case set a precedent. The severity of her crimes, coupled with the embarrassment caused to both SARS and Medtronic Africa, resulted in a harsh punishment. The court sentenced her to 50 years in prison, marking it as one of the most significant sentences for financial fraud in South Africa's history. Medtronic Africa, meanwhile, was forced to repay the taxes it believed had already been settled. Fortunately, the global arm of the company absorbed the financial loss, preventing job cuts or further fallout for its employees. Hildegard Stanum's story serves as a cautionary tale. For years, she evaded detection, but as the saying goes, every day is for the thief, but one day is for the owner. That day finally came for Medtronic Africa in 2023. Hildegard's story also reveals a chilling insight into how she managed to manipulate not just financial systems, but also people around her. Colleagues described her as diligent and trustworthy, often portraying herself as someone dedicated to her work and family. She rarely took leave, ensuring her position as the sole gatekeeper for Medtronic Africa's VAT processes remained unquestioned. This meticulous persona allowed her to fly under the radar for over a decade, highlighting the lengths she went to maintain her facade. Beyond her fraud, investigations revealed that Hilda had a complex web of relationships, including a small circle of confidants who may have known about her actions. While no direct evidence linked others to her crimes, speculation arose regarding whether her second husband, Dion, actively participated in the scheme or merely enjoyed its proceeds. His conspicuous displays of wealth during her trial, such as wearing expensive designer shoes, only fueled suspicions. Her lifestyle wasn't just about material excess, but also about cultivating a status that insulated her from scrutiny. She donated generously to local charities, attended high-profile events, and even forged connections with influential figures in her community. These efforts painted her as a successful and generous professional rather than someone living off stolen funds. One detail that emerged during the trial was her use of offshore accounts to stash portions of the stolen money. While much of her wealth was recovered locally, authorities struggled to trace funds that had been funneled to foreign accounts. This hinted at a deeper level of financial planning, possibly involving external accomplices or consultants who advised her on how to evade detection. Hilda's son, Janus, also became a focus of media attention. Reports suggested he might have benefited indirectly from the stolen money, with his private schooling, international vacations, and other luxuries funded by illicit means. Although charges against him were dropped, his involvement, whether aware or not, painted a tragic picture of a family deeply entangled in the consequences of crime. Ultimately, Hilda's sentencing served as a stark warning. The 50-year prison term was not only a punishment for her, but also a message to others in positions of trust. Her case reshaped how corporations in South Africa approach financial controls, leading to tighter regulations and more frequent audits. For Medtronic Africa, the embarrassment wasn't just about the loss, but also about the systemic weaknesses that allowed a single individual to cripple their operations so profoundly. Her story doesn't just end with a prison sentence. It continues to be a case study in corporate fraud, greed, and the cost of misplaced trust. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your thoughts in the comment section. See you in our next video.